Hello friends, I'm Dr. DP Bora. I welcome you all to my YouTube channel, the Microbiology Digest. So today we'll be discussing the organs of the immune system in a nutshell. So we'll try to discuss various types of organs which constitutes the entire immune system and which actively take part in the uh, immune response against the foreign body or foreign antigen. Now, as we have already discussed, immune system, this is a highly regulated versatile system, which actually main primary function is to protect ourselves from infection by either pathogens or any other microorganisms. So different organs, different tissues that lies throughout the body, they are components of this immune system. So basically, we can divide these organs, which constitutes the immune system. We can divide them into two different groups. First group is the primary lymphoid organ. Primary lymphoid organs, they provides the microenvironment. The appropriate microenvironment will be provided by the primary lymphoid organ, where these cells, which actively takes part in the generation of the immune response, so they will be developed. Mostly the lymphocytes, they will be developed and macerated in the primary lymphoid organs. Now, second group is the secondary lymphoid organ. So these organs here actually the actual uh, trapping of the antigens or microorganisms takes place in the secondary lymphoid organ, and secondary lymphoid organs are the actual sites where the immune cells, they actually interact with the foreign antigen. So they are secondary lymphoid organs. So apart from these organs, there are different types of cells also they take parts in the immune response. So that difference about the different cells we'll be discussing in a different discussion. Now, these organs, which are components of the immune system, they are mostly called as lymphoid organs. So, for example, lymph nodes, bone marrow, thymus, then spleen. These are some of the examples of the organs which are the component of the immune system. So, primary lymphoid organ already we have discussed that they actually provides the microenvironment for growth and maturation of the lymphocytes. Apart from that, they will regulate the production as well as differentiation of the lymphocytes. Then their uh, production or their differentiation of the antigen or sorry lymphocytes, they are independent of the antigen user. Then these are also called the central lymphoid organ. So, for example, primary lymphoid organ includes the bone marrow, thymus, bursa of Fabricius in case of birds. So they are the examples of primary lymphoid organ. Now, second type is the secondary lymphoid organ. These organs, they provide the sites for the mature lymphocytes to interact with the antigens. Now, examples of the secondary lymphoid organ includes the spleen, lymph node, mucosa associated lymphoid tissue, gut associated lymphoid tissue. They are all comes under the secondary lymphoid organ group. Now, difference between these two types of lymphoid organs, primary lymphoid organ and secondary lymphoid organ, this is very much essential to understand. So, if we consider some of the principal characteristics of these two groups of organs, lymphoid organs, we can very well differentiate between these two. So, if we take the origin, primary lymphoid organs, they originate from the ectodermal junction or from the endoderm, whereas the secondary lymphoid organs, they mostly originates from the mesoderm. Then time of development, the primary lymphoid organs, they develop early in the embryonic life, whereas the secondary lymphoid organs, they develop late in the fetal life. Now persistence, primary lymphoid organs, they involute after puberty, whereas the secondary lymphoid organs, they persist throughout the life. Now, effects of removal, if we remove these organs. So in case of primary lymphoid organs, if we remove, there will be loss of lymphocyte, because these are the sites where uh, production as well as differentiation of these lymphocytes takes place. So if they are removable, it will cause loss of lymphocytes, and there will be loss of immune response. If the secondary lymphoid organs are removed, then there may not be any sense, visible sense, or there will be some minor effects may be observed. Now, response to the antigen. So, primary lymphoid organs, already we have discussed, they are independent of antigen exposure. So, exposure to the antigen, primary lymphoid organs, they are unresponsive to the antigens, while the secondary lymphoid organs, they are fully reactive, because these are the sites where the antigens are actually, or the blood immune cells, they actually interact with the antigens. Now, if we take the example, bone marrow, thymus, bursa, as we have already discussed, they comes under the primary lymphoid organs, and the secondary lymphoid organs are spleen, lymph node. So these are some of the examples of secondary lymphoid organs. Now we will be discussing each and every organ in detail. So first, we'll discuss the primary lymphoid organs, and first primary lymphoid organ we are going to discuss is the bone marrow. So bone marrow, it is the site of generation of all the circulating cells. So it is the site where there is generation of the circulating cells takes place. Then all the blood cells also, they generate from the bone marrow, and bone marrow also provides the site for maturation of the B cells. So there are two different subpopulations of lymphocytes. Some are called as B cells, and other are called as T cells. So B cells actually, they they get matured in the bone marrow. Now, what are the functions of this bone marrow? So they are the site of generation of all immunocytes. All cells generate in this bone marrow. Then differentiation as well as maturation also takes place, and they also uh, bone marrow also serves the purpose of, or they are the sites of immune response by B cells, because B cells, their differentiation as well as maturation takes place in the bone marrow. So these are the sites for the immune response by B cells. Now, this is about the cells. What are the cells of the immune system? So we'll be discussing in some other uh, discussions. Now, next type of organ is the next organ, primary lymphoid organ, is the thymus. So thymus is a bilobed flat organ. It is situated just above the heart. So it is surrounded by, each lobe is surrounded by a capsule, and it is further divided into different lobules. And these lobules are separated from each other by a strand of connective tissue, which is called as trabeculae. Now, each lobule of thymus, it is having two different components. The outer compartment, it is called as cortex, and the inner compartment, it is called as medulla. Okay, so medulla and cortex, it is the outer compartment, and the medulla is the inner compartment. Cortex, it is densely packed with the immature T cells. They are also called as thymocytes. Whereas the medulla, these are less uh, populated by thymocytes, and some special cells are present which are called as Hassel's corpuscles. This is having some important function in the immune response, that is present in the medulla of thymus. Thymus, actually, it is the principal function is the site of T cell differentiation and maturation. So as I said, there are two subpopulations of lymphocytes, T lymphocytes and B lymphocytes. B lymphocytes, they get matured in the bone marrow, and T lymphocytes, thymus is the site for differentiation as well as maturation of the T lymphocytes. Again, size is also variable in case of thymus. So in newborn, the relative size, it is the greatest, whereas the absolute size, it is greatest in the puberty. And after puberty, being a primary lymphoid organ, it starts decreasing in size or it atrophies. So this is the structure, diagrammatic structure of the thymus. It is having the cortex and medulla. So Hassel's corpuscles are present in the medulla. Now, functions, as already we have discussed, these are the thymus is the site for T cell maturation and differentiation. Also, it secretes, thymus actually secretes some sort of cytokines as well as some enzymes, and it also regulates the immune response. And to cite some important enzymes produced by, hormones produced by thymus, it is the thymolin. It is a special zinc containing hormone which is secreted by the thymus. Now, next organ is the bursa of Fabricius. So this is specially found in only in birds. This is a specific immune organ or lymphoid organ in case of birds, and in case of birds, the B cells, they actually matures, differentiates, and proliferation takes place in the bursa. Now, this is also in case of bird, this is very crucial for humoral immunity, and the counterpart and the same action, it takes place in the it is the counterpart function. It is in the bone marrow in case of other mammals. Same function is performed by the bursa in case of birds. So this is diagrammatic illustration of bursa. Now coming to the secondary lymphoid organs. Secondary lymphoid organs includes the spleen, lymph nodes, Peyer's patches in case of pigs and ruminants, mucosa associated lymphoid tissue, gut associated lymphoid tissue. These are all examples of secondary lymphoid organs. Now, first is the spleen. It is very crucial in the in filtering the blood. As we all know, spleen actually filters the blood. It is a principal function, and during this filtration process, it can trap the antigen. It consists of two components. One is called as red pulp, which is rich in lymphoid cells, and second part is called as white pulp. So it is rich in macrophages. So what are the functions? Thymocytes residence. It is the site for thymocyte residence, site for immune response. Then some active substances are also produced, just like, for example, complements. Then principal function, as we have already discussed, it is the filtration. So these are some of the functions of thymus. Spleen. So this is diagrammatic illustration of spleen showing the red pulp and white pulp. Now, red pulp and white pulp, they serve different functions. So white pulp, it is the site of immune surveillance and response. Then other functions include the hemoglobin recycling, then followed by transferring the same to the liver. Then macrophage antigen presentation, these we'll be discussing later how it occurs. So these are mostly functions of the white pulp, while in case of red pulp, it is mostly the erythrocyte production. It is a site of erythrocyte production in case of in the fetal life, and it stores some amount of blood which is released during an emergency. So these are some of the principal functions of red pulp and white pulp. Now, next secondary lymphoid organ is the lymph node. So lymph node, again, this is the site of immune response. It is lymph node where the actual interaction of the lymphoid cells as well as the antigen takes place, and it is composed of three principal components: the cortex, which is mostly populated by B cells, follicular dendritic cells, and the primary follicles. Then we have the medulla. Medulla, it is mostly populated by plasma cells, and in between this cortex and medulla, there's a uh, that portion is called as paracortex. But in some species, there is the structure of lymph node is somewhat different. For example, in case of pigs, elephants, hippopotamus, rhinoceros, and dolphins, this structure of these lymph nodes are different. What is the difference? The cortex, which is normally the outermost part of the lymph node. So here in this species, cortex is located towards the inner side, towards the center cortex is located, and the medulla is located in the periphery. So the structure actually it is just reverse of the normal uh, structure in pigs, elephants, hippopotamus, rhinoceros, and dolphins. Now this is the structure of a lymph node. What are the functions of lymph node? It filters and eliminates the foreign antigen. It is the site of immune response. Already we have discussed. It is the site of lymphocytes residence and source of recirculation cells. So these are the principal functions of lymph nodes. Next, secondary lymphoid organs are Peyer's patches. This is in some uh, textbooks. This organ Peyer's patches are included under primary lymphoid organ group, but in some textbooks it is included under secondary lymphoid organ. So these are actually Peyer's patches are actually group of well-organized lymphoid follicles. So they are mostly located in the lamina propria and submucosa of the small intestine. So two types of Peyer's patches have been recognized in pigs and ruminants. One is the jejunal Peyer's patches, which persist throughout life, and other type is the ileocecal Peyer's patches, which disappears. It is not present throughout life, it gets disappeared. So these two types of Peyer's patches have been recognized mostly in pigs and ruminants: jejunal Peyer's patches and ileocecal Peyer's patches. Now Peyer's patches they serve various functions: immune surveillance, antigen sampling, immune activation, IgA production, immune tolerance, lymphocyte priming. These are all some of the important functions which are uh, uh, served by the Peyer's patches, and these all these functions are very essential in eliciting an immune response against the foreign antigen. Next, secondary lymphoid organ is the mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. It is MALT. So these are actually present some groups of lymphoid tissues which are present in the mucosa in the lining. It can be found in digestive tract, respiratory tract, as well as in the urogenital tract. So they actually serve as the secondary lymphoid organ because they are very much efficient. They serve the function of efficient trapping. There are some specialized cells which are called as M cells. So M cells are present. So through these M cells, they serve majority of their functions. So three different types of MALT or mucosa-associated lymphoid tissues have been recognized. One is gut-associated lymphoid tissue. This is called as GALT. Then NALT, nasal-associated lymphoid tissue, and bronchial-associated lymphoid tissue, BALT. Now, what are the functions? These are the first line of defense because they are the first uh, lymphoid organs to come into contact with the antigen. Then they are also site of the immune response, generation of the immune response. Then some of the mucosa associated lymphoid tissue, they also take part in the delayed type of hypersensitivity. So what is that? We'll be discussing in some different discussions. So this is all about the various lymphoid organs, which are the components of our immune system. These are very, very essential. I think these informations will be helpful for you. So if you find these are helpful, please subscribe to my channel and also share and put your comments on the informations incorporated in these discussions. So with this, thank you very much. Thank you.